The entire frontier town laughed when the rugged mountain trapper tossed us a single silver dollar onto the auction block for the hooded woman no one wanted. They thought he had wasted his money on a helpless stranger. But the moment he removed her hood, she leaned close and whispered 5 chilling words. "They're going to kill everyone." What happened next uncovered a deadly conspiracy that would shake the entire frontier. Stay with me until the very end, because the final twist will leave you speechless. And if you love emotional Wild West stories filled with mystery, courage, and unforgettable endings, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's begin. Cold rain had turned the streets of Red Creek into thick mud. Beneath gray skies, townspeople gathered outside the general store where an unusual auction was taking place. A frightened young woman stood on the wooden platform with a rough burlap hood covering her face. Her dress was torn, her hands were tied, and no one seemed interested in learning who she really was. The auctioneer claimed she was nothing more than a runaway servant with unpaid debts. Most people believed him without question. Some laughed. Others looked away, unwilling to interfere. Just then, a tall mountain trapper named Caleb Boone rode into town wearing his heavy fur coat. He had spent months alone in the mountains trading furs and had only stopped to buy supplies before winter arrived. As Caleb watched the frightened woman trembling on the platform, something about the scene didn't feel right. Her posture wasn't one of guilt. It was one of fear. When the auctioneer called for bids, the crowd remained silent. Finally, Caleb reached into his pocket, pulled out a single silver dollar, and tossed it onto the platform. $1, he said calmly. The crowd burst into laughter. The auctioneer shrugged, eager to finish the embarrassing sale, and accepted the bid. Caleb walked forward, cut the ropes from the woman's wrists, and gently helped her off the platform. As they stepped into the muddy street, he carefully removed the hood from her face. She was young, exhausted, and bruised, but her eyes were sharp with determination. Before Caleb could speak, she leaned close and whispered with trembling lips, "They're going to kill everyone in this town before sunrise." Caleb froze. The laughter around them faded from his ears. Looking into her terrified eyes, he knew she wasn't lying. Whatever danger was coming, it was already on its way. Caleb led the young woman into the empty stable behind the general store, away from the curious eyes of the townspeople. Rain drummed against the wooden roof as she struggled to catch her breath. For a long moment, she simply stared at him, as if deciding whether she could trust the man who had paid only $1 to save her life. "My name is Emma," she whispered. "I wasn't sold because I owed anyone money. I was captured because I saw something I was never supposed to see." Caleb remained silent, letting her continue. "I worked as a cook at Black Ridge Mine," she said. "One night I overheard the mine owner and the town marshal making a deal with a gang of outlaws. They're planning to burn this town before sunrise. While everyone is fighting the fire, they'll rob the bank and murder anyone who recognizes them." Caleb's face hardened. "The marshal is part of it." Emma nodded. "He told everyone I was a runaway so no one would believe me. Then he arranged today's auction, hoping I'd disappear before I could tell the truth." Caleb realized the entire town had been deceived. The people they trusted most had betrayed them. Just then, heavy footsteps echoed outside the stable. The town marshal entered with 4 armed deputies. "There you are," he said with a cold smile. "Hand over the woman. She belongs in jail." Caleb slowly stepped in front of Emma. "No," he replied. The marshal's smile disappeared. "You don't understand who you're standing against." Caleb looked him straight in the eyes. "I understand enough." In one swift motion, the marshal reached for his revolver. Caleb was faster. He knocked the gun into the mud, sending the deputies scrambling backward. The stable erupted into chaos as horses kicked, lanterns crashed, and shouting filled the air. Caleb grabbed Emma's hand, and together they escaped through the rear door into the pouring rain. They raced toward the mountains while bullets whistled past them. Behind them, the marshal shouted, "Don't let them reach the sheriff in Pine Creek. If they talk we're all dead." Emma looked at Caleb with fear in her eyes. "They're not just hunting me anymore." Caleb tightened his grip on his rifle. "They'll have to catch us first." As thunder rolled across the dark frontier, the trapper and the hooded woman disappeared into the wilderness, carrying the only evidence that could stop a massacre before the sun rose over Red Creek. Caleb and Emma rode through the storm all night, taking hidden mountain trails only a seasoned trapper could follow. Behind them, the corrupt marshal and his outlaw gang searched the wilderness with lanterns, determined to silence the only witness who knew their deadly plan. Just before dawn, Caleb and Emma reached the small town of Pine Creek. Bursting into the sheriff's office, Emma laid a leather journal on the desk. "I stole this from the mine owner's office," she said. "It contains every payment made to the marshal and every name involved in the robbery." The sheriff quickly opened the journal. Inside were signed receipts, maps of Red Creek, and detailed plans for the attack scheduled before sunrise. His face turned pale. "My God, it's all true." Without wasting another second, he gathered a posse of deputies and rode toward Red Creek. Meanwhile, the outlaws had already begun setting fires along the edge of town. Smoke filled the streets as frightened families rushed from their homes. Amid the confusion, the gang stormed toward the bank, believing their plan could no longer fail. But this time, someone was waiting. The sheriff's posse charged into town from the eastern road while Caleb rode in from the west. "Drop your weapons?" the sheriff shouted. Gunfire echoed through the muddy streets. Caleb confronted the corrupt marshal in front of the general store. The marshal sneered. "You should have minded your own business, mountain man." Caleb answered calmly, "I did." He raised his rifle. "My business is protecting innocent people." After a fierce gunfight, the marshal was finally defeated, and the remaining outlaws surrendered. The townspeople watched in stunned silence as the truth was revealed. The woman they had believed was a criminal had actually saved every family in Red Creek. Ashamed, the auctioneer stepped forward. "We judged you without knowing the truth," he said quietly. Emma smiled through tears. "One person believed me." She looked toward Caleb. "If he hadn't spent $1, none of you would be alive today." The sheriff publicly cleared Emma's name and arrested everyone involved in the conspiracy. The mine owner's fortune was seized, and part of it was given to the families who had suffered because of his crimes. Days later, as peace returned, Caleb prepared to leave for the mountains. Emma stopped him. "Where will you go now?" He shrugged with a gentle smile. "Back to being alone." She shook her head. "You don't have to be." For the first time in many years, Caleb realized the lonely trail he had walked no longer had to be walked alone. The two left Red Creek together, not as strangers, but as partners beginning a new life built on trust, courage, and kindness. The townspeople never forgot the lesson they had learned. Sometimes the smallest act of compassion, a single silver dollar given to save a stranger, can uncover the darkest secrets and save an entire town. If this emotional Wild West story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes that kindness and courage can change the world. We'll see you in the next unforgettable frontier adventure.